long press conference today with Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thomson. Yeah, it was
State of the Union.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Everybody, I give the Phillies PR a lot of credit. Every single person there got to ask a question, even if the question was asked previously.
Even if they weren't media members.
It didn't matter. Even if it was Otto Kemp's buddy in there who somehow got into the press conference to ask everybody about Otto Kemp. Whatever. I thought largely the questions were good. This isn't about the writers. But it appears as if listening to Joe Giglio and dealing with some people online that some folks are angry at what Dave Dombrowski said. So throughout the show, we're going to start with a couple that we think are the most important, but throughout the show, we will be playing you what we believe to be the most important, most notable things that Dave Dombrowski said, giving you a chance to react and us react as well. So, he started it really just sort of recapping the season, and they won 96 games, but they lost to the Dodgers, and this was sort of Dave Dombrowski's thought on where he puts the team and where he sees the lack of success in the postseason.
That pitching staff that they're throwing right now, with their starters throwing as well as they are at this point, they're going to be tough for anybody to score against and to beat. It's really an exceptional staff. Snell's two-time Cy Young Award winner. I don't think I've ever seen him throw better. So if you're going to beat him, you're going to really have to do everything right. And we really were toe-to-toe with the pitching aspect of it. Actually, they hit less in the division series than what we did. But it just shows if it's a throw to one side of the home plate versus the other. If it's a bad pitch by a couple inches that gives up a 3-run homer at one time versus not hitting the 3-run homer yourself. If it is, unfortunately, a missed play at the pitcher's mound. If it's a missed call on a pitch that the umpire apologizes for immediately to your catcher. All those things are little things, and you just have to keep going. We're close to them. We battled them, and I think we're in the same neighborhood, but we didn't beat them, and we have work to do in order to do that.
So he gave a similar answer last year after they lost to the Mets. And I was very angry with the way he messaged it last year after the loss to the Mets because they lost what I perceived to a team that is not as good as them last year, and they sort of laid down. I don't think any of it, once that series started last year, we all felt it in our guts that they didn't have it. I didn't get mad hearing him say the same things this year. I largely agreed with everything Dave Dombrowski said. They were right there with the Dodgers. He said a lot of the things that we said after the series. They just lost. Yeah. And I think he acknowledged that they will try to get better, but I know Joe was very upset with what Dombrowski said, and I guess he could have gone up there and said, what we did was unacceptable, so on and so forth, but he needs to, in my opinion, when he gets up there, and we'll get to this in a second, and deciding to keep the coaches and deciding to keep the manager, and a large part of the roster, if not all the roster, will be the same. He needs a reason for that. He needs to say, I believe that he thinks this team is really, really good and they need some work, but they don't need a ton of work. So when I heard Dave Dombrowski talking about how good the Dodgers were, I feel exactly the same way watching the Dodgers play the Brewers, and I felt them playing us. It almost felt... Now, I wouldn't want him to say this. It almost felt unfair that out of nowhere now they have Blake Snell, and out of nowhere now. So I just didn't... I wasn't bothered by what Dave Dombrowski said. I thought he was honest, and I thought he was largely correct.
Yeah, listen, I for the most part feel the same way. But I also understand from a fan's perspective those that would be frustrated by hearing some of this. Because it almost signifies that you're content with what you did this year in a large part. And you feel like you're close. Your message is, and I don't believe this is the wrong message. This is why I agree with it, that you're not that far away from the L.A. Dodgers. If the L.A. Dodgers are the benchmark, you aren't that far away from the L.A. Dodgers. What he's saying is, when you're playing a team like the Dodgers, your margin for error is small. You don't get to throw the ball to the wrong side of the plate.
Yeah.
Coming home. You don't get to come home instead of going, throw home instead of going to first base to end the inning and see what happens in extra innings. Like, you don't get the benefit of overcoming those types of mistakes. Bunting, the wheel play. I've heard so much about this. I want to call it the wheel route. It's the wheel play.
Yeah, we've heard so much about.
It's the first play we've ever heard of in baseball.
Yeah, I've never heard of it before in my life until this series. So you can't have that happen. Yeah, Topper may have made one or two decisions that he wants to have back. He talked about Sanchez being squeezed on the pitch. These are things that they happen. He's not making them up. They actually happen.
I felt the same way when I saw Sanchez get squeezed on the pitch, and I'm glad. And he does it in a tone. I think sometimes it's his tone, right? And I think
it's always it's always his tone.
Yeah, he
speaks in a calming, sort of soothing way. While I'm listening, I'm like. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I think he speaks in a very matter-of-fact way. I think he doesn't say it in the same way, but I think he does some of the things that Morey does that drives people crazy and just speak in a matter-of-fact reality where it sounds like he's going up there and making excuses. But if you also listen to him, he did acknowledge several and you just mentioned them, several very basic baseball things that the Phillies did wrong. You can talk. One thing is the umpire thing. That's a different thing. Right. But he acknowledged Trey Turner threw the ball to the wrong side of the plate. That could have cost him the series. He acknowledged that Orion Kirkering screwed up, and that could have cost him the series. He had acknowledged, was it Strahm that gave up the home run to Teoscar Hernandez?
Yep. Yeah.
He acknowledged that it wasn't a good pitch, and the guy crushed the pitch. So unless you want him to go up there and
just
say
start ripping players,
but he did nail a couple of them.
He did it in a way, but he just did it in a way that no one could take offense to it.
And I don't know, I don't know what else.
I agree.
Jack, what did you think when he was talking about the end of the season, I guess, and his plan?
So it was a little bit of throw your hands in the air. It's baseball, you know, a little bit of that, and one thing I appreciate about Howie when they have a season where they come up short is it looks like he wears it. Like he shows up with a 5 o'clock shadow. Looks like he hasn't slept in days. Maybe that's performative. I have no idea. Dombrowski still his hair's coiffed. He's in a nice blazer. And I guess the one thing, and it's hard to quantify, I would have liked to have felt it a little bit more. Rather than what did you want us to do? We ran to the Dodgers. Dodgers won 90 games. The Dodgers are great. I get it. And I mostly feel the same way. But I would have liked a little bit more of, we're not happy with how it went.
Right.
And he said it one time in the press conference where he said, we're not satisfied. He talked for 55 minutes. He said, we're not satisfied. But it was a lot of we're in the neighborhood of the Dodgers.
The overwhelming message was, we're close.
We're close.
Yes.
And you also don't want to make change for change's sake because they are, again, a good baseball team. So he's kind of stuck. He's kind of stuck with where they are because you also okay, you don't want to bring Schwarber back. You don't want to bring – then you're just trusting young kids maybe. Or you can't take a step back at the same time.
Right.
It's not time to hit a rebuild. They're selling out the ballpark every single night. They have the All-Star game coming next year. They're gonna be a really good team.
I mean, an attraction.
I guess the only way I felt as a fan and listening to it was I would have liked a little bit more of we're heartbroken about how that went, and it was a little bit of what do you want us to do? We played a great team.
Yeah,
they're pitching out of their minds right now.
I think part of it is just who Dombrowski is, and I think he's probably past the point in his career where he comes in there wearing it. He's 70 years old,
older,
right?
Yeah,
he's been doing it a long time. He's seen a lot of stuff. And this is less about what it ends up being is people are upset with how he said it. So they are, I think to an extent, sometimes you can misinterpret what he said for how he said it. I don't think that he says this is a perfect team and we're bringing everybody back. I don't think that's what he said. That isn't what he said. And I think he did acknowledge some of the things that we talked about leading up to the Dodgers series that could hurt the Phillies, which are just fundamentally making small mistakes against a great team is going to get you cooked. That's what they did. But also, I believe, the Brewers have scored, 3 runs in 2 games against the Dodgers. He's right. The Dodgers right now, from a starting pitching standpoint, are sort of almost on the verge of something that we've never seen. And our starting pitching, without our best starting pitcher, mind you, was right there with it.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds like you're making excuses, but it's also the reality of what happened.
Yeah. Listen, it's coping. I don't care. Yeah, I'm coping. Yeah, this is a part of it. Here's where I look at it. Hey, if you flip the series and the Phillies get to play the Cubs and the Dodgers play Milwaukee in the first round, they beat Milwaukee and we beat the Cubs and we beat the Dodgers in the NLCS, and say we lose in that 7-game series.
To the Dodgers.
Yeah, 6 or 7 games. We feel totally different. It doesn't mean we're not disappointed they didn't win the World Series, but we feel differently about the team and everything else. It was the matchup. We got the Dodgers in our first matchup. We did. It's like getting Shaq and Kobe in your matchup. I don't care if you're the Kings. I don't care how good your regular season was. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You play those dudes, you got to be perfect to beat those dudes. And that's why I look at this and I say we would feel a whole lot different if just the seeding had happened differently. Even if you still lose to the Dodgers in the NLCS, we don't feel necessary to get rid of everybody and make all these wholesale changes.
And if I could put one thing on the team and one thing on Rob Thomson, it is the way they sort of took their foot off the gas the last week of the season with the 1 seed in play.
Yeah.
I mean, that was there. It was there for them. They didn't push through. There were several opportunities for them to get the 1 seed, and they didn't do it. 215-592-9494.
Mets. We should have been trying to avoid the Dodgers.
The Dodgers, yeah. So he also talked about, we have speculated that we knew Rob Thomson was coming back, but we speculated there might be changes in the coaching staff. Here's what he had to say to that.
Are there any other changes to the coaching staff, or is everybody coming back?
Well, there's everybody's coming back, but we're going to have one change. We're adding a role this year to try to again make us maybe just a little bit better and add something. So we're going to add the position of Major League Field Coordinator, which a lot of clubs have now to their coaching staff. I think about 80% of the clubs have that. Mike Calitri is going to take that role for us. He's an ideal person. He's got the skill set to do that, continue to coordinate spring training and a lot of other things for Rob Thomson. And in turn, we'll look outside the organization to add a Major League bench coach to assist us and assist Topper in different fashion of different things. But everybody else is coming back.
So the guy, everybody expected Caleb Cotham, the pitching coach, to come back. It's Kevin Long, the hitting coach, that people want fired. I'm a little conflicted on this one because I would love to say, get me somebody in here who's going to allow Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper to hit home runs against the Dodgers, or get base hits. I saw improvement or career years from a lot of Phillies this year. Brandon Marsh hit better than he's ever hit for an extended period of time. Kyle Schwarber had the best year of his career. Trey Turner had his best season as a Philly, right? Bryson Stott got back to normal.
They didn't chase as much.
Well, they did, actually.
Well, they got back. They got better than they were last year.
Slightly, only slightly.
They finished top 5 in average, top 5 in slow, top 5 in
they had, and Dombrowski mentioned this. We have, because somebody asked him about moving on from Kevin Long. They had the home run champion, the RBI champion, the batting title. I think they were 7th or 8th in runs in baseball. So if
good baseball team.
If you think that there's a hitting coach out there who can, in the most crucial of time, give the best hitters on the team a hint that's going to get them a hit against Blake Snell, go for it. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Kevin Long seems like he did a good job this year. I can't get around. Even Harrison Bader, who was already having a good year when he got here, I'm not saying it was Kevin Long, but he hit better here than he even hit in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So what am I firing Kevin Long for? Just for change's sake, I guess.
Yeah, listen, I understand you want him to, or his influence on their hitting to have an impact at the most critical times. I get that as well. I'm sure he does too. But that's them. That's on the actual hitters to make the coach look good by going up there and approaching the at-bat the way he's coaching it up, taking good swings, taking good cuts, things of that nature. So ultimately, I look back at this series, and I don't know how we can't focus the true responsibility on losing this series to the top of our lineup. And I understand what the Dodgers did with the top of their lineup and how they didn't do much. They get the benefit of the doubt because they still won the series.
Right.
It doesn't matter what the top of their lineup didn't do. they're getting away with it. Ohtani still hasn't hit the ball, and they're up 2-0 against the Brewers.
And the Brewers, who do everything the right way, who are, who are bat to ball, move the guys
it's the way
over.
They play, yes.
It's the way and they've scored 3 runs in 2 games. And you look at who is winning in the playoffs, right? Seattle won the first 2 games against Toronto, hitting home runs. Mm-hmm. Toronto just won their first game against Seattle, hitting home runs.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah. If your guys don't hit at the top of the lineup, it's going to be hard to win.
And they're not listening to the hitting coach anyway. I mean, those guys are established veterans.
Yeah, I'm not blaming Kevin Long for Bryce Harper's struggles or Kyle Schwarber's struggles at the plate. I'm just not. Like, it really boils down to them coming in or coming up clutch in those moments.